CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Makovic.
Right now on the Afternoon Edition, political giant and first woman Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, has announced her retirement after nearly 4 decades in Congress. She has another year left, but we have a look at her legacy in Washington and here in the Bay Area. Thanks for joining us this Thursday. We have reaction pouring into the breaking news. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she's going to retire when her term concludes in early 2027. She made her announcement in a video that she called a letter to San Francisco.
There has been no greater honor for me than to stand on the House floor and say, I speak for the people of San Francisco. I have truly loved serving as your voice in Congress, and I've always honored the song of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace, the anthem of our city. That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress.
For almost 4 decades, Pelosi wielded enormous power in Congress and in the Democratic Party. Nicole Killian is on Capitol Hill with reaction to the end of her storied career.
Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made the announcement in a video post this morning, describing it as a letter to the people of San Francisco.
As we go forward, my message to the city I love is this: San Francisco, know your power. We have made history. We have made progress. We have always led the way. And now we must continue to do so by remaining full participants in our democracy and fighting for the American ideals we hold dear. In doing so, we ensure that our city shines on as a beacon of hope, justice, and peace for the country and for generations to come. After all, San Francisco is the greatest city on earth with the most extraordinary people on earth, and a place that I will always believe is heaven on earth. Thank you, San Francisco, for trusting me to be your voice in Congress.
Pelosi's decision was months in the making.
To the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, I extend to you this gavel. Thank you.
She was the first woman to ever serve as House Speaker, ascending to the role twice from 2007 to 2011 and again from 2019 to 2023. Elected in 1987, she championed many pieces of key legislation, including passage of the Affordable Care Act.
Nancy D'Alessandro Pelosi will go down in history as the greatest speaker of all time. Her tenure has been iconic, legendary, historic, and transformational.
I mean, truly a history-making speaker, but also a very, very effective one at a challenging time, and the body will miss her.
She also built a reputation as a shrewd leader, wielding her influence over House Democrats. But she also wasn't afraid to challenge President Trump, ripping up his State of the Union address during his first term. This morning, House Democratic leaders are praising Pelosi for her leadership, mentorship, and patriotism. Pelosi says she will serve out the remainder of her term through 2027.
And reaction coming in from 2 former U.S. presidents to Pelosi's retirement. President Barack Obama writing in part, no one was more skilled at bringing people together and getting legislation passed. And I will always be grateful for her support of the Affordable Care Act. She made us proud to be Democrats and will go down in history as one of the best speakers the House of Representatives has ever had. And President Joe Biden writing, I often said Nancy Pelosi was the best Speaker of the House in American history. It's why I awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And Governor Gavin Newsom writing, Nancy Pelosi has inspired generations. Her courage and conviction to San Francisco, California, and our nation has set the standard for what public service should be. Her impact on the nation is unmatched. And in just the last hour, San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie called former House Speaker Pelosi one of the great leaders in the city's history. And he spoke about her personal influence on his own career.
I haven't said this much publicly, but in college, I had the opportunity to intern for Speaker Emerita Pelosi. I've been fortunate to benefit from her mentorship and guidance, and she has played a similar role for generations of leaders in our city. So, on behalf of a grateful city, thank you, Speaker Emerita.
Another well-known political figure who worked closely with Pelosi is Willie Brown. He says the two worked together during his time as State Assembly Speaker and San Francisco's mayor. He says he did not expect the announcement today and calls her impending retirement a big loss.
We San Franciscans lose a lot of influence and power that we had, and I think the Democratic Party is harmed by Nancy not being there. After all, Nancy was the cornerstone for almost 20 years in a leadership position in the Congress.
Former Speaker Pelosi's historic term has left a lasting legacy on San Francisco and the Bay Area. Since her first day in Congress, she fought for funding for HIV and AIDS and used her first speech on the House floor in 1987 to address the crisis. She also sponsored legislation to make the AIDS Memorial Grove in Golden Gate Park a national monument. Pelosi also oversaw the transformation of the Presidio Army base into a national park, creating the Presidio Trust to manage it as a self-sufficient operation. She also brought home billions of federal dollars for our local public transit, including BART and Caltrain's electrification. Well, joining us now to talk about it all is Caroline Hellman, a political professor at Occidental College. Thanks for being here. Yeah, hard to overstate what kind of historic political figure Nancy Pelosi is.
Well, I think we think of her as, homegrown Californian, but let's look at history. She's the most powerful woman in U.S. political history. We tend to think of power as being with the presidency. We haven't had a woman president. That would be the only person who could possibly eclipse what Nancy Pelosi has done. And so, again, we tend to think of her as ours, but she really belongs to history. And she, I would argue, rivals Sam Rayburn in terms of being an effective speaker when it comes to raising $1.3 billion for her party, candidates for her party. Of course, passing TARP, the Affordable Care Act under her tenure, infrastructure bills, environmental bills. She was a very powerful speaker in her own right. But, again, history will look on her as the most powerful woman to date in U.S. political history.
Even Republicans who clashed with Pelosi would say just how effective she was as Speaker. What kind of qualities did she possess that allowed her to not only do that publicly, but pull strings behind the scenes?
She was known as someone who used her relationships and developed them behind the scenes in order to wield her power. She was absolutely ruling with an iron fist. You'll note she was the only person on the Democratic side who's really been able to stand up to Donald Trump during his first term and her second term as Speaker. And that there's essentially, I would argue, a power vacuum for Democrats right now. And reflecting upon her effectiveness with Donald Trump, it really throws into sharp contrast how ineffective the Democratic Party is right now in countering his messaging as well as his policies.
And the timing is interesting of this announcement. A lot of people saying this is coming as a turning point for the Democratic Party, as potentially people are looking for more liberal candidates and Nancy Pelosi seen as more moderate. Does that have anything to do with the transition here, the timing? And, when it comes to the opinion of somebody like President Trump, is this good that she's leaving or not?
Well, he didn't have very kind things to say. I wish he was a little more graceful in some of these formal retorts, even to, he called her a villain. And yeah, because she's really stood up to him. I'm sure that she got under his skin. But I think what the election earlier this week told us is that it takes all sorts of Democrats winning in various different ways, right? Like Abigail Spanberger is more of a centrist. Mikey Sherrill's more of a centrist in the Nancy Pelosi vein. Mondami, of course, being more liberal than those candidates. But the Democratic Party is pretty rudderless. It's interesting. I don't know what prompted the timing here, but I'm guessing she's 85. She has a new chapter, and I'll give her kudos for stepping down and passing that baton of power, because I think we've seen in recent years it is really difficult for people in positions of power to give that power up, even when maybe it's time to go.
All right, Caroline Hellman with Occidental College. We appreciate your insight. And stay with KPIX. We are going to have continuing coverage of Nancy Pelosi's retirement announcement on air, online, and streaming on the free CBS News app. Still ahead here at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area, the FAA slashing flights across the country. We have the very latest on how that might affect us here in the Bay Area.
And we're keeping a close eye on the conditions here in the Bay. Still cool and cloudy with some light showers in the forecast for us into the overnight hours tonight. I'm here to time that out for you coming up in your First Alert forecast.
And with the government shutdown continuing, okay. The other major story we are following this afternoon, thousands of flights are being cut across the country because of the government shutdown. The FAA announcing yesterday it's going to take the unprecedented step of cutting 10% of flights at 40 high-volume airports. CBS News reports that includes SFO and Oakland. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy calls the cuts necessary to reduce stress on air traffic controllers who have been working without pay since last month.
Some of them are not coming to work. It's a problem. I want them to come to work and do their jobs, but that's the reality that I deal with.
We are still waiting for the official list of airports included in the cuts, but travelers we spoke with at SFO say now might not be the best time to fly.
They factor in when they get here what they have to go through to get to their gate, and that they're cutting flights, so it's going to be oversold flights, and it's going to be kind of a mess for a while.
The shutdown now in day 37, already the longest in U.S. history. Bipartisan talks are ongoing, but as of now, the Senate does not have any funding bill votes scheduled. First Alert weather, taking a live look at San Francisco. A little warmer as we head toward the weekend. Let's get over to meteorologist Jessica Birch.
A little warmer and a lot drier right around the corner. Yesterday was a First Alert weather day as that atmospheric river swept throughout the Bay Area. Today, we're seeing some lingering showers still on tap for us into the overnight hours tonight. I mean, we're going to see cool and cloudy conditions widespread throughout the Bay. Those light showers start trickling in just into that 3-4 a.m. hour tomorrow morning. The other big story for us, though, I mean, yesterday as that system swept throughout the Bay, it dropped our temperatures down a lot. At the same time, it brought in a lot of wind and a lot of rain for us here in the Bay. But now those daytime highs are slowly starting to creep back up to average. We're in the 70s today in Antioch, stretched all the way over into Livermore. It was just yesterday, those exact same communities were in the 60s, similar to our friends along the coast. So it's a little bit more mild for us. And you take a live look behind me that the Bay Bridge right now, it's pretty much clear, especially at the surface level, but those clouds are still holding on tight to us, especially along the Bay shoreline and all the way up into the North Bay too, into the overnight hours tonight. Let's drop this and kind of time that out. Nothing big to write home about when it comes to those next storms or the next showers that sweep through. It's not a stormy system by any means. It's really just tapered off showers that track in from the north. So cooler weather into the overnight hours tonight. Those daytime highs are going to drop back into the 70s tomorrow for daytime highs, and it's going to be a mild way. That's how we're starting off the weekend's forecast. So taking a look at the next 7 days in store for us, we're going to see dry weather into this weekend. 70s right around the corner for our friends in the Bay. 70s as we kick off next week. But you take a look at the long range models. Now we're starting to see showers return into the forecast as early as next Wednesday. So don't put the rain boots and of course the umbrellas away just yet. Once we head into next week, you're going to want to keep those nearby. It's looking clear though as we dive into this weekend. A beautiful weekend in store for us. Sunnier conditions in some of our inland spots, especially into the afternoon hours, but we're still waking up to those partly cloudy skies each day. Those showers will also influence our friends in our inland spots too, so we'll keep you updated on that as we head into this weekend and early next week. For now, back to you, Ann.
All right, thanks, Jess. Next, we're heading to Santa Cruz to give you a look at one of the country's largest efforts to reduce homelessness. And with the government shutdown continuing now more than ever, our Bay Area food banks need help. You can scan the QR code there on your screen to find ways to donate or volunteer. Now to a major milestone in housing for Santa Cruz County. The county's largest housing development project is halfway finished. Leaders think it's going to play a key role in getting the unhoused off the streets. Our Max Darrow got a tour.
As is the case with Bay Area counties, Santa Cruz is on the hook to build more affordable housing, and they're also trying to shrink their homeless population as well. And leaders here are optimistic this project that's nearing the finish line is going to make a big difference.
For anyone living on the street, life can be both simple and complex. This man knows both realities.
7 years, I think.
He is one of the nearly 1,500 homeless people living in Santa Cruz County.
There'd be some people that you'd be surprised, that were homeless, I'd say.
And just as there is no one face to homelessness, there's no one-size-fits-all solution to solving it.
We still have a long way to go to meet the need.
But Phil Kramer, the CEO of Housing Matters, is confident that this building, when complete, will play a role in changing lives.
And this is a big solution to homelessness.
It is called Harvey West Studios. With 120 studio apartments and essential services on site, it will be the largest permanent supportive housing project ever conceived and created in Santa Cruz County.
You know, this has been 8 years in the making, and we need more of this.
According to the latest point-in-time count, Santa Cruz County's homeless population declined by about 20% year over year.
What's working in Santa Cruz County to help people get housed is really connecting as best you can every unhoused individual, family, veteran, whoever it might be, with a person, with a case manager, a social worker, a housing navigator to help them on their journey.
Gina Harris, the project manager with Mid-Penn Housing, says the project is about 58% complete.
120 studios is a very enormous feat in affordable housing.
Kramer says more housing across the board is needed in the county.
It's not the most expensive housing market. It is the least affordable comparing area median income rents with income. So across the country, Santa Cruz County is the least affordable housing market.
Even though Harvey West Studios isn't finished yet, Kramer is already thinking towards the future, as the number of people who will be eligible to live here will far exceed the capacity.
Certainly there are more people, right? More than 120, which will kind of beg the next question is like, do we do this again? You know, do we do another project like this?
This man says he's heard a bit about the project. He thinks it'll be helpful for those who want to make a change.
People that want the help can seek that out. That's about what you could ask for, right?
The project is scheduled to finish in the summer of 2026.
All right, next we are revisiting our top story. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi retiring from Congress in 2017. We'll be right back. All right, back to our breaking news. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announcing that she is retiring from Congress. We are taking in reaction from across the political spectrum today, continuing to cover this story throughout the day. Much more ahead on the Pelosi legacy, including what her decision means for a changing Democratic Party. We're coming at it from all angles. In the meantime, that is it for the afternoon edition. Thanks for joining us. And remember, we are streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app. Just go to Live and then choose Bay Area.